series that I'm going to be putting on. Pretty simple and straightforward, but maybe you'll learn something, and at least you'll know exactly where I'm getting my materials and the things that I'm using in some of my future videos. So let's get to it. So this material that I'm going to be using here is for the bottom part of the backdrop, so it'll be the floor of the backdrop. And it is actually a flooring material. This is the foam underlay that you would put down before putting on a floating floor material that's like a wood floating floor material. And it is actually a very thin piece of foam that was rolled up, and I actually got this for free at a garage sale. There was somebody that was moving, and it was one of those garage sales where it's like, hey, take all this stuff, get it off my property because I'm throwing it out anyways. So I was lucky enough to pick this up completely for free. I did not price this and don't really know how much it costs. Also, I don't know how old this is because I'm assuming it's actually very old because it was actually very faded and kind of stained from wherever this was being held, and I'm assuming some type of garage. So what I'm doing here is I actually have to cut that layer off, and I don't know if the camera can really pick it up, but the area that I'm cutting off first is just an area that is completely stained and faded, because what I want is just the regular light green. So here I'm trying to poorly attempt to try to get some straight lines involved. However, the cut that was originally made was not straight, so there's no straight edge on this, and I quickly realized that there was no straight edges on the sides either, so it was pretty much a pointless endeavor trying to do all these, trying to do my measurements and get them straight, because basically it didn't really matter anyways, because I can just move it into the shot so you can't see it, and plus this is never something that anyone's going to see in terms of the depth of field of the camera that I'm going to be even using. So anyways, I just go through and do a whole bunch of cutting. So here I am cutting away, getting rid of the section that is all faded. And I'm actually going to use this later on as a little experiment, because I'm going to paint over it and see how well this material takes paint, because I'm wondering if it can be used kind of as a battle mat or another drop for more filming purposes. And with that section that was faded gone, I'm cutting out my good section that I'm going to have that's actually going to be in the videos, and I'm not going to be painting this section, as I felt that the color that was already there on this material was perfectly fine for my purposes. So here it is on my table where I'm going to be doing all my filming. So I'm actually modeling this whole idea behind a martial arts tournament, kind of like the Cell games from Dragon Ball Z. So this is just going to be the bottom part of it. Okay, real high tech here. To make the tournament floor, I'm just using the standard slate tile. Already has the texture into it, works perfectly fine. Be doing all my filming with this. All right, let's put the two stars in. Here they are for some context. And let's get a background, and that paper, it's kind of too small, it doesn't quite work. Larger shots won't work. Let's try a towel, light blue like the sky. And wow, it really looks like a towel back there, pretty obvious. It kind of works, not necessarily as big as I want it to be. Well, with the towel not working, let's move outside and try to use this large piece of cardboard. I'm going to spray paint it blue. This was a larger piece of cardboard. You don't regularly get these through smaller boxes. This was came with a wheelchair from work. They had ordered a bunch of wheelchairs and weren't using these boxes anymore. And of course, my intention was not to use this as a backdrop when I initially got it. I was going to use it to basically put it down on the ground when I was spray painting smaller objects, so I wouldn't make a mess all over the place and get my grass dead. But instead, I'll be cutting this to size and be using that instead. So here I am getting it all cut. So I'm going to be spray painting this blue. It's actually the same blue that I used for the bike restoration that I used in another video. This is what's left over of it. I'm going to be using this handle, gloves, mask, the whole thing, goggles as well, just to make sure everything's nice and safe. And of course I am wearing ridiculous looking clothes because these are clothes that I don't care if they get paint on them. They're throwaway clothes, so I'm perfectly fine if this gets spray paint on me because these clothes are basically not useful to me. And just gonna spray paint the whole thing. Now, as you can see, I have it elevated up on boxes because I don't want the blue paint getting all over the grass and killing the grass. I mean, maybe it doesn't really matter considering there's so much depth of the grass around it anyways, but I'd rather not have blue grass, so I elevated it up so that when the spray paint comes down over the edges, it dissipates enough that it doesn't provide much or any coverage to the grass below. All right, might as well do the experiment. I'm gonna use this type of spray paint to cover the stained, faded foam underlay that I had cut off, because remember I had cut 2 pieces. And let's see what this will look like, a little experiment, and I'll just fast forward to the experiment. It didn't look great, so I ended up sticking with just the regular one. All right, so here's the cardboard all painted up with the slate base and the green overlay base. And here are our 2 leading ladies, and they will be ready for the more shooting of videos that will be coming forward. So be sure to look forward to those. Come back to the channel, like, subscribe, and of course keep watching the videos I post, as well as the other videos I already have up, as well as my other channels. See you soon. Bye-bye.